garbanzo beans. These are super simple. You throw them in the Instapot. If you don't have an Instapot, highly recommend the Instapot. But you can throw these things in there when they're done. You can throw them in your salad. You can put all sorts of different dressings on them. We make a lot of hummus. Hummus is super easy. Organic currants are really good for you. They're full of vitamins, and when you want to have a little sweet, if you're eating some nuts or seeds, or trying to get some of those grains in, you can eat a few of these, not a couple as in two, but maybe a fourth of a cup or so. Add them to them, and these are really good for you. I like them better than raisins. They just are a little bit tangier and have a little more substance to them. Let's see what we have here. So this is couscous, and so you have to be careful with couscous because there is a white version of couscous, which they'll say it's enriched, but basically it's just white pasta made from white flour, which is not good for you. So today I got the whole wheat couscous. I haven't tried them yet, so we'll see how they turn out. Purple sweet potatoes. These things are fantastic. So once you get away from eating sweets and desserts and sodas and all that, you'll really start to be able to taste things a little better. And these sweet potatoes, they're red on the outside and they're white on the inside, but they are fantastic. And when you have them on your plate, say you have some sauteed kale and maybe some, the brown rice with the peas, the sweet potato is a great side item to have because it gives you that sweet, savory flavor. Let's see, we have some little capers. Those are good thrown into a salad. You can saute Brussels sprouts and throw in some capers and some mustard powder. It's fantastic. Smoked paprika is really good on everything. You'll learn when you cook these things, when you just steam them, or it's not really good to just boil things in water, but when you learn to prepare them and you add the different seasonings, it just makes them a lot more palatable, and they're really tasty. Always try to get the organic salsas and spaghetti sauce, because they spray tomatoes with so many chemicals if they're not organic, unless you're peeling them, and even when you're peeling them, it kind of worries me, all the different things that can be in them. But back to grains. I just found this one today, found this one at Fresh Market, but they're really good. One thing that drew me to this item is because they're good about keeping the whole grain intact. And so when something says it's whole grain, it's referring to the germ, the bran, and the endosperm, and you need all three of those to make a complete grain, so nothing is removed, and so you have a good little version of pasta to use with your sauces that hasn't had any of the nutrients or the whole product removed. Same thing with the orzo. It's similar to rice. It just kind of, rice, if you get monotonous with the rice, you get tired of it. The orzo is a type of pasta, but it's whole wheat, and so it just gives you something different. Let's see what else we have. So thick rolled oats, so oatmeal. Oatmeal is even one of the items if you're avoiding gluten, which very few people are actually allergic to gluten. Some people are gluten intolerant. The only way to tell is to come off of gluten completely for a month and then add some back in. When you add it back in, I would recommend getting either the whole wheat, like we mentioned in these grains, or I plan on making my own bread. But today I bought organic sprouted whole wheat flour. When something sprouts, it increases the nutrient content in it. And so that chemical reaction of the sprouting increases the vital nutrients tremendously. And then we also got some more just organic whole wheat flour to make some bread. Let's see, what else do we get? So let me move this. Nut butters are fantastic. One thing for desserts that you can do is we buy a whole bunch. We got some over here. We bought some bananas, and you take the bananas, chop them up, put one banana per Ziploc bag, and freeze them. And then when you want a dessert, you can either use like a bullet like you see over there, or you can use a Vitamix, blender, whatever. But you put the frozen bananas in there, and you can put a little bit of, you can either use peanut butter, cashew butter, whatever kind of butter you want. Make sure it just, on the ingredients though, that it says nuts and nothing else. It shouldn't have anything else in it, no sugar, none of that stuff, or no oils. But you put that in there. You can put cacao powder, cocoa powder, whatever. Cocoa nibs are great to put in your ice cream, but you just blend it up and it actually makes a very creamy, great ice cream. These things are awesome. They're organic, unsweetened, dried mango. So they're very similar in texture to fruit roll-ups. Try to make sure that when you get them, if you flip them over when you're shopping for them, whether it's at Earth Fair or Fresh Market or wherever, that they don't contain sulfur. You don't want the sulfur chemical sprayed on them. Some foods have sulfur in them naturally, like asparagus, but that type of sulfur is good for you. Chemical sulfur sprayed on your food is not good for you. But these things are great, especially if you're going to go out fishing or you're going to go on a trip or you need something in the car. You can have some of these. You can have some raw pumpkin seeds, a few nuts, something like that, and they're a very healthy snack. Okay. Sometimes when you're making your ice cream, if there's not enough moisture in there to make it as creamy as you like it, you might want to add some type of milk. You don't want to add cow milk. Cows, regardless of what the label says on the cow milk and beef, those two things, in my opinion, and if you look at all the research, the book goes into more detail, those things cause cancer worse than any other foods you can put in your mouth, especially prostate cancer and things like that, colon cancer. So if you want to avoid those, there's a variety of milks you can get. I chose cashew milk because the saturated fat content was only 1 gram. I love coconut milk, but I'm trying to slim down some, so I'm trying to cut back on my saturated fat. Now, if I was at the weight I wanted and wasn't really worried about calories, I was out running 10 miles a day, then I could have my coconut milk. But right now, we want to stay away from those saturated fats. The other reason you might want to stay away from saturated fat is if you tend to have high cholesterol or you have heart disease, you have a stent, any kind of cardiac issue, even blood pressure, you want to lower your saturated fat because you want to keep your arteries wide open and clean and you want them to remain elastic. So go with the plant milks. So we got some other little things. These are just sun-dried tomatoes and these are little red peppers. I just like to kind of juice up my salads. You know, it gets boring, just lettuce and tomatoes and cucumbers. I can't do that on a day-to-day basis. But if you can throw in some sun-dried tomatoes, some peppers, you know, throw some cauliflower and, you know, all that stuff on there, then I'm all about a salad every day. We got some dill. When you can actually, when you're doing this type of diet, the plant-based diet, you can actually still have potato salad. You know, potatoes aren't banned. Now, I do want to add, and I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, but I do want to add that if you suffer from arthritis or you have a lot of pain, you've had back surgery and you have to take, you know, pain medicines, whether it's, you know, opiates, which hopefully you haven't had to resort to that, but even anti-inflammatory type meds, you can cut down on your inflammation naturally in some cases by cutting down the nightshades. What are nightshades? Nightshades are sweet potatoes, they're white potatoes, they're eggplants, they're bell peppers. So those are the things you want to avoid if you have a lot of pain. I would recommend cutting all nightshades out of your diet for 2 weeks. See if your pain decreases. If it does, then you know you have a problem with nightshades. If you take every nightshade away, your pain doesn't change, then you can go back to eating them. It's not affecting you. It affects, I can't remember the exact statistics, but I want to say 1 in 10. And so give it a try, see if it helps. But I put the dill a lot of when I make potato salad and things with potatoes because I love dill weed. Cinnamon, a lot of people take cinnamon for their diabetes. I would like you to research this. I used to recommend cinnamon for my diabetic patients. I don't anymore because cinnamon actually can be toxic in doses more than even a teaspoon a day. So do a little research. There's different types of cinnamon. The only type of cinnamon that is safe, and even then you don't ever want to use more than a teaspoon a day, is Ceylon. It's Ceylon. So it's very hard to find, but it's the only safe kind of cinnamon. So if you're taking cinnamon capsules from Walmart or GNC or one of the vitamin stores, quit taking them. They can kill you. This is hibiscus leaves, and I plan on making a tea with this. Hibiscus tea is very, very good for high blood pressure. It is equivalent, if you make the tea correctly, it's equivalent to taking a blood pressure pill. And I personally would rather take some hibiscus tea or punch every day, you know, sip on it, than to take a blood pressure pill, because in my opinion, all medicines have side effects. So you want to minimize the medicines and pharmaceuticals that you take. Let's see if we forgot anything. I think that's it. So on future videos, what I'll try to do is I'll try to show you different ways to prepare these things, and we'll let you know when those videos are ready.